Okay, guys, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, it's out. People are talking about it. It's going to make a boatload of money this weekend. And there's a lot of fair criticisms. It's basically like the first movie, but worse. Like people are calling it a TikTok movie for screenagers, and there's no plot, and nothing makes sense, and it's pretty lame. And sure, I think if you watch any other review, they'll talk about that. But what I wanted to talk about is why the action in the Super Mario Galaxy movie is so bad. So first of all, like there's so many action sequences in this movie, and much more than the first one. Like off the top of my head, I'm gonna count. I think it's around 8, and spoilers, I guess. But like in the beginning, Rosalina fights Bowser Jr. Then Peach is at the casino fighting all these people. Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi protect the Mushroom Kingdom in that little montage. Bowser Jr. versus Mario, Luigi, Yoshi. In the castle, there's that Fox spaceship fight with Bowser Jr. attacking out of nowhere. There's the dinosaur chase. And then Mario and Peach also escape the fiery like booby trap thing on Bowser Jr.'s planet. And then we have the final showdown where it's Bowser's versus Mario, Luigi, Yoshi. And then in between, there's a bunch of like different chases and action things. And compared to the first movie, this is a crazy switch up. It's so much more action oriented. Like in the first one, there's only like 3 real action sequences. It's Mario versus Donkey Kong. Then there's like the Mario Kart chase scene, which is more of like a chase scene than like a fight. And then there's like the final wedding battle and like the big climax of the movie. And I would say probably that all 3 of the ones from the first movie are better than all of the 8 in Galaxy. And first, I think just generally my thought on action is that we like action a lot less than we think we do. Like action is fun and cool and exciting, and like that's what you go to the movies for, to see this big stuff on the screen where they're fighting and blah blah blah. But after a little bit, I think like our eyes just glaze over what's happening and we just take it in, right? And what really makes good action set pieces is good story. And I think there's like 4 categories that I really think of, like stakes, character, orientation, and then of course coolness. First, like stakes, it's just the reason why our characters are fighting and like why it matters to the story. Like what could we lose? What could we get? Like how does this change the plot? How does this move us closer or further from the goal, right? Like in the first movie, the Donkey Kong Mario fight, if Mario wins, he gets the army support of the Kongs, and it's established that they need the Kongs to defeat Bowser. So quick, easy stakes. We win, we can save the world or whatever. If we don't, then. Then for character, it's all about motivations and how much it means to the characters, right? And it's more than just like, oh, Bowser Jr. wants to free his father, so he's attacking Mario. But like in the fight, what do we learn about the characters? Does the fight force the characters to make difficult decisions? Like, and do those difficult decisions reveal character flaws or beliefs or values or secrets? I think in the first movie, they didn't do this like super well or anything like that. But part of the final fight was Mario leaning into the idea that he never quits, he never gives up. So stuff like that, right? And then the third one, orientation. It's all about giving the fight like a grounded weight. And I'm not saying like good action is only like gritty, realistic action, right? But like in any kind of action sense, like do the rules of the world make sense? Is the power scaling consistent? Is it reasonable what happens in the confines of the world that we've established? Like, am I spatially aware of what's going on so that the movement, the attacks, they make sense? Like, has the audience been oriented to the environment, to the rules of the fight, so that we can follow along, so that we can track, we can understand what every twist and turn is like, right? Like, for example, Avengers Endgame. The final battle is basically keep the stones away from Thanos. Very easy to track. In Infinity War, it's don't let Thanos get the stone. Like that stuff, that's orientation to make sure I know what it means for us to win the fight or to lose the fight. Kind of goes in with the stakes, right? And then the last one is coolness. It's kind of like a case-by-case personal bias thing, right? Like, is the action cool? Is it inventive? Is it thrilling? Do you enjoy it? Like, does it make you like feel like that 6th grade boy who just wants to go and pretend to be a superhero, right? And I think almost all of the action sequences in Super Mario Galaxy, they're like lacking in all of these 4 categories. And I'm not going to go through all like the 4 categories, but generally, there is no reason why the characters are fighting. And that's because like the plot and the story is just so bare. But like Peach fights at the casino because she does. It's not really a hostage situation. She just fights there. It really means nothing. The final showdown with Bowser and Bowser Jr. against Yoshi, Mario, and Luigi, like it's wild because Bowser is like a wildly different character in every scene. And for some reason, he turns into like this wild rage monster who absolutely hates Mario. When most of the movie, he's been like, oh, like Mario, you're cool, And of course, like, it's because he's mad at, like, Mario for beating Junior's traps, and, like, he doesn't want to be embarrassed by the plumber again, right? But there's just, like, these weak and inconsistent motivations. And so when we're in the final battle, it's supposed to be, like, between these 2 sides who are, like, mortal enemies, but, like, they've just been treated like goofy friends for the whole movie, so it doesn't resonate or make sense why we're fighting. We're just fighting because it feels like, oh, the screenwriters realize that we need to end this movie with a fight because that's how this goes. Like final boss showdown, whatever. And then also on the character thing, there's just no interesting decisions our characters need to make in the fight. Like in a movie where Peach actually had an arc, like there might be a fight where she has to decide between pursuing more information about her like forgotten past or protecting her toads, which this is a crazy aside, but like in the first movie, Peach is all about protecting her toads. Like it's what's used against her to get her to pretend to marry Bowser. Like that's her whole motivation. I need to protect my kingdom, my toads, and all this stuff. And in this movie, she just like immediately dips to go find help for this like random Luma that comes, and she does not exhibit 1 ounce of care for the toads throughout the entire movie. So it's just like, what is this character inconsistency? That's a little nitpick. It doesn't matter. But anyways, like back to the idea that we want our characters to be pushed and challenged and changed through the fights, right? Like maybe like there's a fight where like Luigi has to actually display his courage and overcome fear, or like Bowser shows that he actually cares more about his father's affection and approval than like taking over the world, or like the opposite, where he like realizes like, I actually care about doing evil more than like my father liking me because now that Bowser has changed or reformed or whatever. Like usually action is supposed to end with a turn, like a new wrinkle, a new direction for the story because of what happened in the fight. But here, everything just mainly stays unchanged character-wise. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, we defeated these people so we can like go to the next thing, the next cutscene. But our characters just remain stagnant through the fights. And then the next thing, which I think is maybe my biggest pet peeve, and this is more of a technical thing, and like I don't even know how to fully explain it, but all of the action feels telegraphed and not reactionary, which is really weird. Like for me, the action felt super mechanical, which is kind of ironic because obviously it's an animated movie. But like I felt like every action scene, which is part of a cutscene where you know that there's no danger because the characters just need to finish through an animation that they're programmed to do. Like things are flying around and everything is crazy, but like what I mean by reactionary is that it doesn't feel like the characters are actually trying to hit the other characters and like they're actually reacting to the weapons being thrown and the punches being thrown, right? Like, for example, like the way I've been thinking about it is like, you can tell when a bad sword fight is a bad sword fight. It's like really obvious, right? Because the actors, they'll just be going through the motions and you can tell that they're just like, they're trying to get all the blocking right. Or they're trying to make sure that the blade hits their blade in the right way. And they're just trying to like set up the next move. It looks like they're a dance, you know? They're a dance where they're trying to connect their blades at the right spot, at the right timing, and then keep to the choreography. Instead of actually trying to kill each other, right? Like in a lot of these like swords fights that you see that are bad, it's like, man, I would never do that. I would just like go for the slice or go for the head or what, you know? And it's just like an instinctually visual thing that I felt throughout the movie. Like if you were really fighting, you would not do that. You would do something else. Like they would like actually try to kill someone or whatever. And it felt like the characters were just trying to get to the spot that they were supposed to do and like not actually fight. It felt like that for a lot of the fighting. And so that's why I kind of just felt like this glaze over TikTok, like, oh, things are just happening. I also think this relates to the pacing of the fights. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that I view action sequences through like the same lens that you would view any regular like dialogue scene or whatever. Like it's all about crafting a narrative. It's all about story, right? And the pacing of fights is just super fast in this movie. Like we barely have time to catch our breaths. It's like quick, one move after another, and the camera's moving so fast and it's hard to focus on anything. And there's a lot of times where like, this is a nitpick, but Mario and Luigi, they're scrambling and they're on their butt and they're shuffling backwards, and like Bowser Jr. is like swinging his paintbrush and like he's just barely missing them by a hair, and like they should definitely be dead. And of course, I don't want them to be dead, and like it makes sense why they're doing these near misses. Like it creates tension and excitement, but like also in the back of my head, I know like it's fake because we know that they're actually not in danger. There's no way that Mario is gonna be hit by like this pickaxe in this movie, but also like it happens so often that every single time we get a near miss, it minimizes each near miss. It's like, oh, like there's no real tension here because I know they're not going to get hit. It's just like something to kind of shock the audience, right? So there's that. The other one with kind of dealing with orientation, there's a few action sequences that just have no sense of environment or boundaries or weight. Like the casino fight with Peach, I think is the biggest culprit because this casino that they created, it is like such a cool place. It's such a great place for an action set piece. Like it has this gravity bending effect where you can walk on any wall and like your perspective shifts depending on where you are in the casino, and you can jump from place to place, and like, yeah, gravity will shift you and move you around. So super crazy nice place for an inventive action scene. And it could push the characters and it could be loaded with creativity. But of course, like Peach, she's already a master immediately at using the gravity to her advantage. She doesn't have to like innovate in any way. She doesn't have any learning curve, and she's just like moving too fast for us to track along with her. So like I couldn't possibly follow along, and I'm like, I guess this is what happens. And like obviously any other human would be like weirdly oriented to this because gravity is changing all the time, and we're not used to that. But they don't use it to their advantage here in the fight. I also think the same thing for the final fight between the Bowsers and our main characters. Like once Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi get the power-ups, it's just madness. Like things are just flying around and like color is happening and stuff is happening, and we don't like get to see the fun uniqueness of the power-ups. Like how does Mario's drill power-up like interact with like Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush? Like what counter can like Junior pull out to try to combat this? Like, and then how does like Dry Bowser's fireballs and stuff like interact with Luigi's cloud thing, right? You know? But no, it's just like colors being barfed out on screen, and we don't really know what's happening, what's going on. And so it's like hard to focus and know like, oh, who's winning and what's actually happening and how to track this fight. And so I don't really know what to feel. I'm just kind of like eyes glaze over. And then of course, lastly, I think there's like the power scaling problem, which like in fantasy movies, like power scaling doesn't need to make sense, but it needs to be consistent. And like the first fight where Rosalina is captured by Bowser Jr., like Rosalina in all of the fight until like 99% of the way through, she's kicking his butt and she's clearly way more powerful than Junior is, but like somehow she loses, because I guess. And then in the end of the movie, Mario, just by himself with no power-ups, is able to like fend off both Bowser Jr. and Bowser. Like what? Like the character abilities and fighting competencies just make zero sense, and it like gets annoying when it's not consistent. And so I think the most fun parts of the movie, like the action, were honestly pretty bad. And I was trying to like think of why was I not super entertained by the parts that are supposed to be super entertaining? And I think that's why. It's because the action just lacks structure and story and meaning, and some of those technical aspects behind it. You know, like it's like dumb action, it's poorly planned action, and it's just meaningless action in the grand scope of the story. And that's a problem when this movie is basically all action. It's just action sequence after action sequence after action sequence. And it's a movie that like treats its audience like it has the attention span of a TikTok teen. And it's stitched together with no real like cause and effect. And so like, even though I'm out here like criticizing a small aspect of what you would think a Super Mario Galaxy movie would be, like it's not a small aspect because like that's all there is here. There's no real story or character development or interesting villain or compelling conflict. And I'm not like out here expecting a Mario movie made by Illumination to be some kind of high art, you know? Like, but movies can still be goofy and fun and engaging for kids while being taken seriously and having heart. Like we see that all the time. Sony Pictures Animation is doing a great job with that. We've seen it with Pixar, and like the Mario franchise, and even the Nintendo Super Smash potential franchise. Like it could be this huge epic saga of storytelling. Like it's all there. Like this movie here too has the bones and the general skeleton of an awesome tale, like about family and Bowser Jr. and Bowser and that relationship, and also like Peach and Rosalina finding like kind of their past and their like sisterhood, and of course Mario and Luigi. Like there's a core here that is really interesting with like themes and stuff that could be fun, you know, while all going on this like cool galactic adventure. But instead, it's just like the lowest common denominator of flashy colors and like cool references that don't really amount to anything. And all it really is just a boatload of cash for Universal. And I think that's like honestly pretty sad.